handled it today. It's my plea.
This is
Okay.
clause number 2021 CR 10764, State of Texas versus Margaret Ruiz. Would the attorneys for the state and the defense please identify yourselves for the record?
Brittany Mitchell for the state.
Jeff Mulliner for Margaret Belton Ruiz. Your
Good
Honor.
afternoon to both of y'all. Good afternoon, ma'am. Are you Margaret Ruiz?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Ma'am, you have filed a document with this court entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. By signing that and filing it with the court, was it your intention to waive your right to have these proceedings occur in open court?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. You are charged by true bill of indictment with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Have you had the opportunity to go over that indictment with your attorney, Mr. Jeff Mulliner?
Yes, sir, I have.
You understand the charges against you, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. The court will note for the record that both parties have signed a discovery acknowledgement, which the court now signs and makes a part of the record in this cause. Ms. Mitchell, is the state proceeding as charged?
We are, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Mulliner, how long have you represented Ms. Ruiz?
Several months.
In your opinion, does she have a factual and rational understanding of the charges against her and the nature of these proceedings?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has she been able to assist you in her own defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in your opinion, is she mentally competent this afternoon to enter a plea in this case and waive the rights she's waiving this afternoon?
She is, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Ruiz, I have a document before me which you have signed entitled Court's Admonishment and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Before you signed that document, did you go over it carefully with your attorney, Mr. Jeff Mulliner?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you understand everything in it when you signed it?
Yes, Your Honor.
In it, you tell me that you are a citizen of the United States. Is that true?
That is correct.
By signing it, among other things, you've waived your right to have a trial by jury in this case. Is that what you intended to do?
That is correct.
I accept your court's admonishment and your defendant's waivers and affidavit of admonitions. I sign it and I make it a part of the record in this cause. Now, I am not bound by any plea bargain agreement you may have entered into with the state, but if I follow any such agreement, you may not appeal your case without the court's permission. If I give you more punishment than you've agreed to, you may take back your plea and demand a trial. Do you understand that? Ms. Ruiz, do you understand that?
I understand, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay. The range of punishment for this offense is from 2 to 20 years in the penitentiary and up to a $10,000 fine, the charge being a second-degree felony. Do you understand the range of punishment?
Yes, sir, I do.
You have applied to this court for deferred adjudication probation. Deferred is a special type of probation. Should it be alleged during the term of the probation that you have violated one or more of the conditions of probation, a warrant will be issued for your arrest. You'll go to jail. You'll be brought back before this court for a hearing on a motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke your community supervision. If during the hearing on that motion, the state proves any one of the allegations against you by preponderance of the evidence, this court will have full discretion to grant the motion, find you guilty, and revoke your deferred adjudication probation and sentence you to anywhere within the range of punishment that I explained to you. Do you understand how deferred adjudication works?
Yes, yes, Your Honor, I do.
Understanding that and the range of punishment, do you still want this court to place you on deferred adjudication probation?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. State, it appears that the defendant has signed a document entitled plea bargain in 2 places. Would you please read the terms of the plea bargain into the record?
Yes, Your Honor, there is a $1,000 fine, an affirmative finding of a deadly weapon. The state is recommending deferred adjudication for a term of 5 years. There'll be an affirmative finding of family violence, mental health and TAP evaluations, the BIP course, no contact with the victim in this case, and weekly random urinalysis.
Thank you. Mr. Mulliner, is that in fact your plea bargain?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Ruiz, before you signed off to that plea bargain, did you understand the terms to be what you just heard?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, ma'am. To the
Your Honor,
charge of-
Judge, I'm sorry. I told her she was going to be evaluated for mental health, and I just heard Ms. Mitchell say what I confirm is in the plea agreement, the BIP course. I missed that, and I don't know enough about the BIP course to know what a kind of a commitment that is, and I didn't explain that to my client. So we should make sure she knows what that is before we go forward.
She will understand that through the probation officer. Ms. Salazar, will you quickly state on the record, when someone's ordered to take BIP, exactly what do they have to do?
So it's once a week, Judge, for about 12 weeks. And it's basically a family violence course or like batter's intervention course.
And how long is the
12 weeks.
commitment? Is it 1 hour?
I'm not sure on the time frame. It's either 1 hour or 2 hours a week,
So,
but just once a
Mr.
week.
Mulliner, I think your client understood and heard that
Yes.
she'll have to be involved in this class. I'm not aware today, I'm not aware whether they do it by Zoom or in person, but I'm sure there's some in-person component to it, at least.
I just hadn't talked about that, and I didn't want this to move forward and her truthfully thinking he never said anything about that. So thank you for stopping it.
Okay, Ms. Ruiz, are you understanding that class that you're going to be required to take?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So ma'am, did you understand these terms when you signed off to the plea bargain?
Yes.
Okay. To the charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon alleged to have occurred on or about September the 19th, 2021 here in Bear County, how do you plead?
Nolo contendere.
Thank you. I'll have you know, Ms. Ruiz, that in a year and 3 months of my sitting on this bench, you are the first defendant, unprompted by anybody, to perfectly pronounce nolo contendere. Not a single other person has ever done that. Congratulations. Did you
Thank you.
take Latin?
No, I did not, but I am from Mexico.
You're from Mexico.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Well, they speak a Romance language there as well. Ma'am, are you pleading nolo contendere because you discussed your case with your attorney, Mr. Jeff Mulliner, and you believe such a plea is in your own best interest?
That is correct.
And are you pleading freely and voluntarily?
That is correct.
Did anybody force you, intimidate you, threaten you, or coerce you to get you to plead nolo contendere?
Not at all, Your Honor.
Did anybody promise you anything other than the plea bargain we went over in exchange for your plea of nolo contendere?
Not at all, Your Honor.
I will note your plea of nolo contendere for the record. State, you may proceed with your proof in this matter.
Your Honor, we offer State's Exhibit number 1 and all attachments.
Without objection, Your Honor.
Without objection, State's Exhibit 1 and all attachments is hereby admitted into evidence. And Ms. Ruiz, what I've just admitted is a document that you signed in 2 places entitled Waiver, Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations. Before you signed that, did you go over the waiver itself and all of the attached stipulations carefully with your attorney, Mr. Jeff Mulliner?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you understand everything in all of the documentation before you signed?
Yes, Your Honor.
By signing the waiver itself, among other things, you've waived your right to the appearance, confrontation, and cross-examination of the state's witnesses against you. Is that what you intended to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
And also by signing, you have indicated to this court that the stipulations are true and correct, and they correctly name you as the defendant in this case. Is that what you intended to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
I didn't hear your answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
I accept your waiver, consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. I sign it and I make it a part of the record in this cause, having become satisfied that you truly understand the rights you're waiving today, and you do so freely and voluntarily. At this time, the court will review the evidence in this cause.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I find that there is sufficient evidence to substantiate the defendant's guilt. I don't see the prosecutor on with me.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Yes,
here.
Ms. Mitchell. The court is inclined to order a PSI and TAP evaluation. Y'all were not contemplating that I proceed to sentencing today, were you?
We hadn't discussed it, Your Honor. It's,
Well, let me ask you, let me take a look at the plea bargain. You're recommending deferred, so maybe I can skip that. Tell me about priors, if any.
Your Honor, she does not have any prior felony history. Let me pull up. She does have a case currently pending in County Court 13 with a different victim. It looks like as far as any kind of disposition, she had a misdemeanor theft that she had received deferred on. Let me just verify that. So she did in 2014, she did 6 months deferred on a theft, 50 to 500. And
Did she
then
complete
she
it
had a,
satisfactorily? Did she complete that satisfactorily?
she did.
Mr. Mulliner, is the defense waiving the PSI and requesting that I follow this plea bargain?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Mulliner, is there any legal reason why the court cannot proceed to sentencing?
There is none.
Ms. Ruiz, is there anything you want to say to this court before I assess punishment? Ms. Ruiz?
No.
Okay, I'm going to follow the plea bargain. I assess $1,000 fine. Court costs. 5 years deferred adjudication. I make an affirmative finding of a deadly weapon and affirmative finding of family violence. I'm ordering mental health and TAP evaluations. And the defendant must follow all recommendations without any further hearing or ruling by the court. However, if they want to recommend inpatient treatment and you all disagree, I will permit a hearing if you all ask for one, and I'll decide. I'm ordering the BIP class that we talked about. No contact with and restitution to the victim, in this case, whose initials are LG. I won't name that person on this live. Weekly UAs, a one-time payment of $50 to the battered women's shelter. And the statutory minimum, $25 a month supervisory fee.
Thank you for that, Judge.
You're welcome. Is there anything further from the state regarding this plea bargain?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you, you're welcome. Mr. Mulliner, anything further, anything I left off of the plea bargain?
No, you did not, Your Honor, and thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Ms. Ruiz, I have followed your plea bargain. You may not appeal this case. We're going to place you in a breakout room with Ms. Dara Salazar, and she will explain all the terms and conditions of your probation. Ma'am, I expect you to do well. It troubles me that you have another family violence case pending in the misdemeanor court and with a completely different victim. So we're going to have you do some of these evaluations. Make sure you answer every question fully and honestly. You understand? But there's no question in my mind you have a problem with anger. And I'm hoping that the BIP class will help you deal with that. Okay? If any medications are prescribed, ma'am, it's a condition of your probation that you take all prescribed medications exactly as prescribed, okay?
I take no meds, Your Honor.
I know, but you're going to be evaluated and you
Okay,
might be in a
okay.
situation where you do.
Okay.
So when that happens, if you do that, make sure if they say one pill a day, you take one pill a day, not half a pill and not skip a day and all that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you, ma'am. I hope you do very, very well on this probation and I expect you to do so, all right? Mr. Mulliner, we thank you very much. If you have nothing else on our docket, and if you don't need to go into the breakout room with your client, then you are excused. And we appreciate your service to the court and to the client.
Thank you, Judge. I'm going to go in there, but with your permission, then I'll be excused from there. Thank you.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure. And you may do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, I'm getting paperwork. Come on in.
Whoever is the administrator, if they could allow me to go into breakout with probation and Miss.
Yeah, you guys can join that room, rejoin room 10, and I'll join you guys.
Very good. See you in 10.
We'll go ahead and proceed on the next matter. And I don't see my DA on with me. I don't know if it's going to be Mr. Wright or who it's going to be. Ms. Thorne, are you the defense counsel on Susie Ontiveros?
I am, Your Honor, and it's regular CTT, so I guess it's Victoria.
Well, I don't see anybody, but I'm hoping somebody's going to jump in. We've been having a lot of computer problems. There's Mr. Wright. All right. This is cause number 2021 CR 11509A, State of Texas versus Susie Ontiveros. Would the attorneys for the state and the defense please identify yourselves in that order for the record?
Ryan Wright for the state.
Sharon Thorne for the defendant. Is she online? I don't know where she is. I don't see her.
She was.
She was. I don't know if they put her in the breakout room or where she is. I don't know.
Is this a plea, Sharon?
Is this a plea?
Oh, I see Victoria. She's here.
Okay, but let me find out where my client went. Do you see my client? She's been here this whole time.
I saw her before.
I'm going to switch to the big screen.
Okay, there she is now.
Okay,
Ma'am, are you Susie Ontiveros? You have to unmute yourself, ma'am.
Sorry about that, sir.
Yes, no problem. Are you Susie Ontiveros?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ontiveros, you filed a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. When you signed that document, was it your intention to waive your right to have these proceedings take place in open court?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. You are charged by true bill of indictment with a 2-count indictment. One is for possession with intent to deliver, and the second is for simple possession of methamphetamine in an amount of 4 grams or more, but less than 200 grams. Have you gone over this indictment with your attorney, Ms. Sharon Thorne?
Yes, sir.
And you understand the charges against you, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The court will note for the record that both parties have signed a discovery acknowledgement, which the court now signs and makes a part of the record in this cause.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Thorne, how long have you represented Ms. Ontiveros?
Since last January, 2021.
All right. In your opinion, does she have a factual and rational understanding of the charges against her and the nature of these proceedings?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has she been able to assist you in her own defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in your opinion, is she mentally competent this afternoon to enter a plea in this case and to waive all the rights she's waiving this afternoon?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Ontiveros, I have a document which you have signed before me entitled Court's Admonishment and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Before you signed that document, did you go over it carefully with your attorney, Ms. Sharon Thorne?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand everything in it before you signed it?
I'm sorry. I didn't understand that.
Did you understand everything in that document before you
Yes.
signed it?
Yes, sir.
In it, you told me that you are a citizen of the United States. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And by signing it, among other things, you've waived your right to have a trial by jury in this case. Is that what you intended to do?
Yes, sir.
I accept your court's admonishment and defendant's waivers and affidavit of admonitions. I sign it and I make it a part of the record in this cause. Now, I also have another document entitled Plea Bargain, and it looks like you signed that in 2 places. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I need you to understand that this court is not bound by any plea bargain agreement that you and Ms. Thorne may have made with the state. But if I do follow any such agreement, you may not appeal your case without the court's permission. If I give you more punishment than you've agreed to, you may take back your plea and demand a trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Fernandez, could you please state the terms of the plea bargain for the record?
Yes, Your Honor. The terms of the agreement are to proceed on count 2. The agreement is for 5 years TDC, but the state will be silent to the applications for community supervision by defense, and we are taking into consideration cause number 2021 CR 10981.
Is that your plea bargain, Ms. Thorne?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Ontiveros, you just heard what the prosecutor said. Before you signed off to that plea bargain, is that what you understood the terms of the plea bargain were?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, the state has indicated that they are only proceeding on count 2. They are waiving count 1. Therefore, you are only being prosecuted for a second-degree felony punishable by from 2 to 20 years in the penitentiary and up to a $10,000 fine. Do you understand the range of punishment?
Yes, sir.
All right. To the charge of possession of methamphetamine in an amount of 4 grams or more, but less than 200 grams, alleged to have occurred on or about January the 18th, 2021, here in Bexar County. How do you plead?
Guilty, sir.
Ma'am, are you pleading guilty because you are guilty
Yes, sir.
and for no other reason?
Yes, sir.
Did anybody force you, intimidate you, threaten you, or coerce you to get you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
Did anybody promise you anything other than the plea bargain in this case in exchange for your plea of guilty?
No, sir.
I will note your plea of guilty for the record. State, you may proceed with your proof in this matter.
At this time, state offers states Exhibit 1 and attachments into evidence pending any objection from defense.
Your Honor, I'm good over this document for my client. We have no objection.
Thank you. States Exhibit 1 and attachments is hereby admitted into evidence. What I've just admitted, Ms. Ontiveros, is a document that you signed in 2 places entitled Waiver, Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations. Ms. Thorne, your attorney, has indicated that y'all went over all of this carefully together. When you did that, did you understand everything in the waiver itself and in the attached stipulations?
Yes, sir.
By signing the waiver, among other things, you've waived your right to the appearance, confrontation, and cross-examination of the state's witnesses against you. Is that what you intended to do?
Yes, sir.
And by signing it, you've indicated to this court that everything in the stipulations is true and correct, and they correctly name you as the defendant in this case. Is that what you intended to do?
Yes, sir.
I accept your waiver, consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. I sign it, and I make it a part of the record in this cause, having become satisfied that you truly understand all the rights you're waiving today, and you do so freely and voluntarily.
Yes, sir.
At this time, the court will review the evidence in this case.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. I find there is sufficient evidence to substantiate the defendant's guilt, and I find the defendant guilty. At this time, the court orders a pre-sentence investigation and TAP evaluation. And this matter is reset for sentencing. On which date, please?
May 9th, Judge.
Did you say May 9th?
Yes, sir.
On May 9th, 2022, the time will be announced later on. Ms. Ontiveros, we're going to place you in a breakout room with Ms. Dara Salazar, the CLO. She will advise you of the things you need to do with regard to these evaluations. Do not miss them, ma'am. You're out on
Okay.
bond. Is that correct? You're out on bond? So-
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I paid one of my bonds off already. And the second one will I'm almost done with that one as well.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, ma'am, but you're free to move about, so do not be late for these appointments. Do not miss them.
Yes,
Answer
sir.
every question fully and honestly. You understand?
Yes,
And
sir.
then you need to come back live to the courtroom, not on Zoom, on the date of sentencing, which is May the 9th, 2022. That's the 144th District Court on the second floor of the Justice Center. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am, good luck to you. You need to join that breakout room. Ms. Thorne, anything further from the defense?
Not on this case, Your Honor. I have another client that's online. I need to confer with Victoria on.
Okay, well, we appreciate your service to the court and to your client. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank
Susie,
you.
I'll call you later.